yeah, there are still many there. There are many. I believe that those people they said they are deep.
When you begin to hide yourself,
the business I'm doing, how to keep business, like customer business, receipts.
You're on Talking Migration on TV 360. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Onyi Adekunle. First, let's bring you up to speed with happenings, of course, on migration and related topics. Our first stop is in South Africa, where a Gauteng judge in Pretoria has again jailed two Nigerian brothers based in the country for human trafficking. Obioma Benjamin and Chinedu Obasi allegedly ran a brothel in Arcadia where they held young women captive. Two of their victims told the court of their brutal experiences while the suspects kept them hooked on drugs. The convicts were sentenced to 12 and 18 years imprisonment respectively. Meanwhile, the United Nations has asked the Nigerian government to do more in dealing with the rising cases of human trafficking in the country. United Nations Special Rapporteur Maria Gramarinero is asking the government to enforce stiffer penalties on trafficking and provide agencies and civil society bodies with adequate funding to resolve the issue.
My recommendations and my main suggestion to the government is, first of all, to establish a dedicated fund to finance civil society organizations' activities aimed at preventing trafficking and assisting victims and survivors in their rehabilitation and social inclusion process, to better fund NAPTIP activities, to revise the statute of NAPTIP shelters, opening them and transforming them in real shelters without allowing any restriction of freedom of movement, and adequately fund the trust fund for compensation to victims. I urge also the international community to cooperate with Nigerian partners to improve their designing and implementation of projects, especially in the field of job creation and in the field of community development.
Similarly, a non-advocacy group, Devatop Center for Africa Development, has asked the Nigerian government to step up the fight against human trafficking. The executive director of the group, Joseph Chidiebere, noted that human trafficking victims in Nigeria are projected to hit 5 million mark in the nearest future, that if urgent steps are not taken. He also wants Nigerian electorates to only vote for aspirants who are ready to take a hard stance on human trafficking.
Human trafficking is spreading like Ebola virus. It's like an outbreak. It's spreading to virtually all the local government areas in Nigeria. And it is important for everyone to come together to create ways to tackle human trafficking. The fight against human trafficking is not just the fight for the federal government. Every state government should be involved in the fight against human trafficking. And as we are approaching towards the general election, it is important also for any political leader to show that he or she has political will to tackle human trafficking. Because we cannot have leaders who don't have the passion and the political will to combat human trafficking. It can affect anyone. It can affect anyone. And if nothing is done, with the rate it is going, in the next 5 years, we might be talking of over 5 million victims of human trafficking in Nigeria.
What happens nowadays is that too many women and girls, especially coming from Nigeria to many countries in Europe, are being enslaved, even if some of them know that their destination is going to be prostitution in Europe to make some money. Even if they know that, when they arrive in Europe, they face too many difficult situations. We are trying to understand their problems, all the problems they went through, also their way of thinking. Some of them might feel guilty for not being able to give back all the money they were supposed to give to somebody. They might feel guilty for failing to their families if they cannot send money back, for example, or if they didn't achieve this European dream they were expected to achieve. and usually it doesn't happen. Reality is that this European dream, normally it doesn't happen, and it means a lot of suffering for these women.
There you have it. We'll go on a break now, and when the program returns, we'll continue with more information. Please stay tuned. You're welcome back. Now, the Nigerian government has alleged that the European Union are providing funds for Libya to maintain detention camps in order to deter mostly African migrants from reaching Europe. Now, take a listen to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, as he gives details on this development.
Mr. President, sent a delegation to Libya beginning of last year. The point I made, that I tried to make very forcefully, was that that there seemed to be some complicity by European countries in the treatment of migrants in Libya. Why? Because the European countries pay the Libyans to maintain camps for these irregular migrants, and essentially what we felt they're doing is giving them money and telling them, do whatever you have to do, but just stop them getting to Europe. And the result of that is some of what you saw, on the television and the media. Terrible we and modern-day slavery in action against these, these migrants. And we had a meeting yesterday with the European Union, and they confirmed that that issue has been taken on board and being addressed at the highest level by the European Union. So we are, committed to assuring the basic human rights of Nigerians, whether they are legal or illegal, regular or irregular migrants.
Joining me further to discuss this are two gentlemen who are already with me in the studio. Osita Osemene, who is, of course, a friend of the house. You are no strange face. And Damien Emin, who is a returnee migrant. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I'll begin with you, Osita. Now, it's not the first time that we're hearing allegations like this. These are indeed trying times for European Union countries and for African countries, of course. But do you not think that this desperate... Oh, wait, let me even ask. Do you agree with... Are you on the same page with the Minister of Information of Foreign Affairs on this?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for this wonderful topic. In terms of what the Minister has just said, it's not new to me because... considering the spate of the issue of migration now for the past 3 years, and what has been happening in terms of slavery and all this, when we went into a kind of investigation to find out why are these people being incarcerated in Libya, though it didn't start today, we found out that actually the European Union actually gave out some money. Not just European Union as a whole, but some certain members of the European Union, some certain countries, gave some money out to the Italians and the Libyans, the Libyan government, knowing fully well what is happening in Libya now, gave them some money to stop migrants, African migrants, especially, will I say, when it's African migrants, you're talking about West Africa,
yes.
Who are majorly on that route, to stop them from crossing the Mediterranean Sea to Europe. But now the question is, what was the approach? What did they use it for? How did they manage it? But rather, it turned out to be, now detaining them and being sold into slavery and being incarcerated, being maltreated in an inhuman way. But I think what led to it, maybe later we'll
of
talk
course,
about
I'm coming
it.
back to you on that. Let me come to you, Damien. You were in a detention camp in Morocco, so
Yes.
it's safe to say that you've seen everything.
Of
You've
course,
seen
I know.
the
Yeah.
maltreatment and all. Can you give us a brief detail on how it was for you in detention camp?
Oh, thank you for that. Actually, it's terrible. Okay, I mean, what we really go through is not really meant for humans, because when you're there, like in a small room whereby you maybe like people of 10 people should be in, you come across like 100 people in a particular small room, and when you want to sleep, you have to sleep with your side. Everyone sleeps on sides. You understand? So there's no more space, and you want to ease yourself or make use of the toilet. It's just in front of you, so you can inhale the odor of the toilet, which is not conducive for the human health. So, and apart from that one, the weather is very, very cold, extremely cold, and at night, you don't have something like blankets that will be given to you. So it's not really good for the body, to be precise. And in terms of feeding, you're being given just a long bread. We call it hamsa. Just a long bread. That's your meal. They'll give you three of it. That's your meal for your lunch, your breakfast, and your dinner, which is not healthy at all.
But when you were in detention camp, did you have any idea who was really running that camp that you were in? Was it privately owned, or was it the government?
No, definitely is the government. Definitely is the government. But with the fact that they see we, if I may say, blacks, illegal immigrants, as worthless human beings, so they don't have regard towards us. There is a name they normally give to us, which is embarrassing. So like, they don't pay good attention to us because they don't.
What is that name they call?
They call us Azi, means black in Arab. Okay, so they don't really put much effort to take care of our well-being at all. It's like they just feel less concerned. Just like, let's just get this group of people and deport them back, so that EU will feel that they are doing their job. But in terms of taking care of us in that camp is not healthy at all.
Well, there are situations where they'll tell people, okay, do you want to go back to your countries? And they say no, they choose to remain in the detention camp. Would you blame those people now for keeping them? And of course, no harsh treatment is to be justified here.
Yes.
But why would you think that people would want to remain in detention camps as opposed to going back to their countries?
I would not think that statement is not right, because everybody definitely wants to leave that detention camp.
That's true.
Nobody wants to stay voluntarily at all. Everybody wants to go back, because the way you're being treated there, you are a slave. You don't have freedom. You don't have freedom. So what your aim is that sometimes maybe they'll tell you, yes, they'll be deporting you in 2 weeks' time, and they'll end up holding you there for maybe 3 weeks or a month, and we have to protest. We have to start making noise in the deportation camp that they have to deport us tonight, or else something will happen. But just a threat. But the fact is that we all want to leave that deportation camp because we are being held against our will, because we are depriving us from certain things, from freedom. That's why we've been asked them to, like, you have to deport us. So nobody wants to stay behind. None.
Now, Sita, let me come to you. That as at last year, February precisely last year, there was news that Italy had paid Italy about over $200 million for Libyan coast guards and for training to catch vessels that's of irregular migrants trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea. One would think that with such huge amounts of money, the conditions in the detention camps should at least be relatively okay for people to live in. So why do you think that these camps are in horrible situations? We've seen videos, we've seen migrants crying out for help. Why do you think that this issue is persistent?
First of all, you have to consider the area where these things are happening. North Africa and Libya, for that matter. Even before now, Libya issue has been like this years back. Now, come to think of it, you're talking about last year. Last year, the war started in Libya 2011 when they removed Gaddafi. Even before then, things have been bad. They treat people in a very kind of an inhuman way. And after the war, it became worse, where everybody, there is the kind of proliferation of arms. Everybody carries arms. Before then, they were carrying arms, but now it became for everybody. They shoot, they kill, they don't care about lives. Come to think of it, you're just talking about last year. Just that, thank God for the media. that exposed what has happened or what has been happening in Libya. This thing has been happening. People have been dying in detention camp before last year. People slump. There are camps in Libya where you see open roofs. You know, under terrible, intense heat, you see people, they starve them, they die. You know, they choke thousands of people there. You know, and the money was given at the wrong time. You gave money to people that are in a war situation, people that are fighting. They don't have time for dignity. They don't have time for human feelings, you know. So you have just succeeded in giving them money to continue, you know, dealing with people, getting more arms, you know. So as a result of that, he made a lot of things easier for them, you know, by taking money, keeping these people. But I want to tell you that I don't think that is the initial mindset of the giving country. That is either Italy or whatever country that must have given that money. The mindset was stop these people and return them back to their country.
Countries.
You know, they feel that they will be like them, the Europeans, because for the Europeans they cannot treat blacks like that. They don't even treat human beings like that. You know, going with what is happening, they provide the money, they make sure they support you to go back to your country and even assist you while you are in a country. But now in Libya, this money was given to them, and they kept them, not that they built new detention camps, they kept them in their old prisons and their old camps, you know, and be keeping them in a worse condition, a very bad condition. They beat them, they kill them, they do all sorts of things. They sell them, they harvest their organs, you know, a lot of things.
But then, IOM figures have shown that there are over 7,000 detention camps in Libya, run by the UN-backed Tripoli government. That we may say that this is a general opinion now, that, okay, we might say that the EU countries are paying those people, are backing them with funds. But there are also camps, over 20,000 camps.
More than.
Run by militia groups.
Yes.
Because given the political climate in Libya at this time, do you think at this point that EU countries might be paying some of those militia groups to keep black and irregular migrants in detention camps?
They for now, they don't. Before now, it's possible because now they're trying to regularize the issues on ground now. Because when they were doing it before, you know, in Tripoli, I learned that they had over 3 different governments or 5 different governments operate in the country. So you don't know who to approach. You know, you come to this, he claims that he's in charge of this area, you come to this, he claims. But for the EU, trying to protect the lives of this migrant, approaches and, you know, try to maintain a kind of make sure that these people handle a set of people, you know, which may be wrong, you know. They're trying to see how they can gain their entrance into Libya. You know, like now they have been able to get their own camps, you know, like the IOM have their camps in Tripoli, though might not be as much as the one the militias have, because militias, they make their major money from the camps, from the detention camps, especially in terms of their sales and what they do, selling them out and using them for menial jobs. They even use Africans to even service their arms and all these things, you know, which is dangerous to most countries that are sending countries, you know. So what is happening here is that the EU, the money that they have now assigned for these detention camps was not actually properly used, and the number of camps in Libya or in Tripoli is not enough, especially the one controlled by the EU, compared to the one controlled by the militias. The one controlled by the militias are more, because they have so many states in Libya being controlled by the militia.
Now, we can say that because of these funds that have been made available, it has now become some sort of, like a source of revenue generation for, of course, people using...
Yes. It has supported.
Of course.
It has supported. Before now, they have been using it as a source of revenue. Like you have the militias, they do a kind of... they support trafficking, because some of them provide ships and boats.
Talking about trafficking now, let me come to you, Damien. Did you experience anything like slave trade or trafficking when you were in detention camp?
Yes, I did. Because, you know, like when I was in the detention camp in Algeria, to be precise, You know, when you're in a camp there, when you have money in there, you can pay the warder money and he will leave you. You will just go. Sometimes the militants have a connection man that take people to Europe. So you can be right in the deportation camp. If you can raise your connection money, they can take you out of the deportation camp and give it to the connection man to strike you. And another thing, if they do that, they will now have to go outside there and catch someone else to replace that person that has been removed.
But why do you think they were doing that, to get a replacement for somebody that has been
they are being paid by the person that they take out of the camp. They are being paid. So it's like it's a trade. It's like it's an individual need. You understand me? So when you, like, if I have 5,000 to give to you in person, and I have my own connection money, you do it very fast. You understand me? So that is what happens there. And you know, seeing all this, it's just like a deportation card. Somebody now that has money to go to connection, that doesn't have a reliable connection man, can just surrender yourself to the police, and they will take you to the deportation camp. From there, you can make your connection in the deportation camp there to a better connection man that they know.
So how were you able to secure your release from detention?
I was not released. I was deported. And I was deported back to the border of Algeria and Mali. Okay, so when we were deported there, it was a Sahara Desert to be precise. That's where they will leave you. And when they leave you in that border between Algeria and Mali, you have to walk 7 kilometers to the border of Mali. And we call that 7 kilometers to hellfire, because it's extremely hot over there. Some of them that is already, you were not really giving food well when you were in the deportation camps. You don't have the strength to even walk. Some of them died along the way. Some of them, I'm not going to lie you, have to drink their own urine just to survive, to have strength to be able to go to that next borderline of the Algeria. So it's really, really hectic. And Moroccan too. In Moroccan, when they want to deport you, they deport you to the border of Algeria. And Algerians, they don't want deportees. They don't want.
So from that point where they drop you, how do you find your way back to your country?
You have to make a choice to go back to Algeria, or you have to go back to Morocco. And when you're being taken to the border of Algeria, the Algerian militants, they open fire on the militants of the Moroccans. So they don't have to hide. Or they can just tell you, okay, just go this way, just go down the valley, just stick like this. That is Algeria. So if you want to go back to Algeria, you will not have to surrender yourself to the militants of the Algerians. They will not put you into a deportation camp. They do not have to deport you back to Mali. So it's like you're being deported from one country to another. And you can imagine the shape of the deportation camp in Mali there. It is, oh God, it's unexplainable. You cannot even eat because of the condition of the environment. It is hectic. And
so when did you get back to Nigeria?
I came back to Nigeria February.
February this year?
February this year, yes. February this year. And I really stayed for years. Throughout my journey, I really spent years. You understand me? I left very early, you know, and I came back. I believe, I won't lie, I spent 16 years. Wow. In this journey. On transit, you know. And I give God the praises for IOM that has really given us the hope to revive, to be able to fit into society. Just give God the praises for the fact that, you know, we are alive, we came back alive, healthy, not being an handicap. Is enough to give praises to God.
Of course. Osita, you are the executive director of Patriotic Citizen Initiative, and I believe you work with both government and private bodies. Nigeria has been making strategic steps, and the president said it recently when Merkel visited that they're working hard to bring Nigerians who are stranded in Libya back home. What steps are you taking? Is your own body taking, or you are in a position to give us the status, the current situation? Was it like?
Yeah, for the federal government, I think they have been able to return about 2,000 Nigerians through the support of the presidency via Port Harcourt Airport. And so far, though we've not seen, I think the president said they should return 5,000. That was the order he gave. But we've not heard any move yet now. But for the European Union and International Organization for Migration, the international community, the evacuation is ongoing. Last week, they returned about 154. Previous week, they returned some numbers. You know, there have been ongoing evacuation assistance and all these things. And so far, we have had about over 10,000 now on ground, you know, trying to find their feet into the system since the evacuation. And with the current project on ground that try to support them and protect their migrants and their integration in Nigeria, which has taken care of about over 2,700 people, and almost 2,000 have been duly empowered and sorted out, as in supported, you know.
Put on their feet again.
Yes.
Those are indeed very good figures,
yes,
and I must say, well done.
Well
so done.
Some of them have started their businesses, shops open, life kicking back, you know, a lot of things, and we've been getting the testimonies and everything, you know. And we hope to increase, you know, because everyone that has gone through that journey from the beneficiaries angle must go through the training and also have that support. So from the angle of the Patriotic Citizen Initiative, we play a kind of a complementary role to international agencies and the government. Wherever they need our support, wherever they need our assistance, we give counseling, we give mentorship. We also kind of train them, you know, try to give them hope back, because we believe that Nigeria, even as a Nigerian and as a youth, there is still hope for you.
There is still hope for the youth.
Because
if I give you all the time, Osita, you go on and on. But we're pressed for time. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being a part of the program today. So we'll go on a short break now. And when we return, there's more information. Please don't go away. You're welcome back. Now, have you been thinking of how to recover your stolen or missing passport? Well, here are some steps to follow. Visit the nearest immigration office close to you with a sworn affidavit, police reports, photocopy of missing passports. Now, if you do not already know, you should have a photocopy of your passport just in case anything happens. And then you can apply and make payment for a new passport. That's all on the program today. Many thanks for watching. Till next time, I am Oyi Adekunle. Bye for now.